Excellent. And do we know where Tracy is?
She's coming in the doors. Everyone is here.
Hi, I'm Martin.
I'm Jeff Fire. Nice
Jeff,
to meet you.
pleasure to meet you.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Hey.
Hi. Okay, Martin, perfect timing. We are going to call
Sorry, I'm
this
2 minutes late.
That's okay. We're going to call this meeting of the Taos Academy Governing Council to order at 5:33 p.m. We need to take a roll call.
All right, ready? Dean?
Here?
Laura?
Here.
Martin?
Here.
Sam?
Here.
Karen?
Absent today.
Okay.
Oh, who's
Okay.
Karen saying
Mhm. Okay, we are now going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
You've done that in a while, have you?
Oh, I do it all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, with the VFW.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And so now we'll move on to agenda item D, approval of the agenda. There's just one thing that I'd like to call attention. It's that the lettering is off. And so there's an echo. It's very annoying.
We have to put mute on our end if she's talking. Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much. It's awful to hear yourself speak. And so we just need to, when we're, making the motion or entertaining a motion for the agenda, if we could just do it with an amendment to fix the lettering. We go from G to I, and it needs to go G, H, I, and J, right? So if we'd like to entertain that motion with an amendment.
I move we approve the agenda with the change of G, H, and I.
Second.
All right, roll call. Dean?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Sam?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Excellent. Now we are moving to item E, last month's minutes, the approval of the minutes. Anything? Okay. I'd like to propose or entertain or ask someone to make a motion.
As presented.
I'll second.
All right, roll call. Dean?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Sam?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, so item F is governing council input. Sub item A is a discussion of GC role changes. And so when we had our board retreat and we voted me in as the chair, it was the only thing from that meeting that did not make it into the minutes. And so we just wanted to take a clear vote that is codified in the minutes tonight for that. Just so it's official and in writing.
I move we accept Sam as the new president of the Taos Academy Governing Board.
Second.
Okay, so where are we putting this as an action? Under A?
Oh, I'm sorry. It would be B. So we've
sorry.
discussed. So now it's B.
All right, so I had Dean as the first and who's second?
Laura.
Laura. Perfect. All right, roll call. Dean,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Martin, Sam.
Yes,
Motion carries.
I'll vote for myself. Sure. And then I think that was it. Tracy, can you just remind, I think that was it for discussion on GC role changes. We just wanted to codify that. Do you remember? I don't think there was anything else. Oh, you're muted.
I got it. Yes, the only other thing I think that was, just a little confusing, but I think Sam, you explained it to me, and that's just that the finance committee. So Dean is still on the finance committee. You're just sitting in to learn to.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay, so the committee hasn't changed. It's just that you're there learning what Dean does,
Mhm.
right?
And then I
Yeah.
will absorb that role when he resigns.
Yeah, okay. Just to make sure that's, I got it. I think now.
Okay, and then sub item C, there's two possible people who are interested in being a governing council member for Taos Academy, which is very exciting. One of whom is here tonight. His name is Jeff. And Jeff, if you'd like to introduce yourself, we'd love to hear a little bit about you.
Per your request, I submitted a resume to you. I don't know if people have seen it, bothered to read it.
I've got it right here now. I was just asking him if he was from New Jersey because I saw Rutgers on there. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I grew up in, I'm a Jersey guy from way back. Graduated from Rutgers University. Upon graduating from Rutgers University, I received my commission in the United States Marine Corps. We had a little war going on at that point, a draft. So I decided rather than being a private in the Army, I would be an officer in the Marine Corps. Probably one of the better decisions of my life. Survived Vietnam, saw the world on the taxpayer dime, and really learned a lot, gained a lot of self-confidence. What I could do, and realized I didn't want to be a meteorologist, which is what I studied at Rutgers. I wanted to work with people. I went to New York City and started with J.P. Stevens, which is a textile company. And you're going to laugh about this, but I originally started intimate apparel. So I started my whole career selling bra straps and molded cups.
Lacey.
And we all talk about the modulus and the double picot edges and all this good stuff. Did not get into that very much, and I got into what became my passion, which was transfer printing with the Substatic Corporation of America. And they developed this process, and the whole key was to improve the printing of products. Instead of printing directly onto the product like a textile, you would print on a piece of paper, which is a perfect print substrate, transfer the design to the whatever substrate you're doing. When I was started with them, they were just in polyester fabrics. And it boomed because this was a double knit leisure suit era and everything else. They literally had customers lined up taking numbers to get product. Well, in the fashion biz, nothing lasts. So about 2 years, that tanked. I took over as Director of Diversified Products, which is a title I created for myself. Essentially, they gave me the job. What else can we do with this printing technology? I came up with a way to use it on plastics, because at that time, plastic products were really suffering as far as appearance. While I was at Substatic, I got my MBA at Fordham University by Fordham School of Night. And then when Substatic started going under because the polyester fabric died, and I hadn't brought any new products on board enough to carry the company. They closed up, and I started my own business and called myself Enhancement Technologies Incorporated. Technology to enhance your product. about surface preparation, and it's all about perceived value. So if you can take a commodity product and make it into a designer product, you can charge a lot more for it. I could make a little buck on the side. So I basically set myself up as a middleman. We were a small corporation, but we were dealing with big corporations, working with the corporations, not for the corporations. So we first started in floor tiles, and they had a product called peel and stick floor tile. I think they still got it. And we worked with Canoleum to take the paper they were using on the back of the tile and use it as our print substrate. And so they were able to transfer the design from the face of our onto the face of the tile, and then use it on the back of the peel and stick tile after they used it. So it was a very economical way to vastly improve.
Yeah, we just really can't hear. It's very, no, it's okay. Just the audio is really choppy.
I might be talking too fast.
Or I think it could just be across the board. Can you hear me, Sam?
I can hear you now. Yeah, it was just having a really hard time hearing.
Yeah, see, that's what's picking up their
Oh,
picture.
this is the owl.
Yeah, it follows you around. So,
So the eyes follow you around.
Yeah, you can sit here, that might help
Okay,
them.
all right.
Yeah, and then
Sure.
maybe, and so thank you for that background. And maybe if you could just tell us a little bit about like your interest in being on a charter school governing council?
Sure. I'm very intrigued by what you're doing. I really like what you're doing. You're definitely filling a need in New Mexico. You know, I know that I really owe a lot of my success to the fact that I had a good high school learning in New Jersey. And basically, when I went to Rutgers, my first year was a repeat of everything I learned in high school. So high school education is definitely the start of life. And I'm very intrigued by the fact that you created this out of nothing. And you came up with this whole new way of teaching. So I thought it was something worthwhile to get involved with.
how did you choose to come to Taos?
Ah,
22, I saw 2022 you moved here.
no, I need to correct that. I've actually been involved with Taos since the mid-90s. Skiing like everybody else. My two sons and my wife was an artist. She hated skiing. So we had gone to other ski resorts and she had to stay in the football. She had nothing to do. But here, she could get into her art. And so it was a perfect fit. We fell in love with this place. Came here every season. In 2001, I bought a house here, which we came to back and forth from New Jersey because I was still working. And about 2012, I realized that this is not, you can't have a house 2,000 miles. And I wasn't getting here enough, so I was wasting a lot of money. So we went away for 10 years and then retired in 2020, beginning of 2022. And we came out here just as our retirement trip. We went to a bunch of national parks. We got, let's say hello to Taos.
You had sold your house from before?
No, not yet.
You still have your house, okay.
Yeah. We came into town and within an hour, my wife's arthritis had disappeared. And we were both in love. We were in a VRBO over by the Wilson Rogers Museum. The house 3 doors down came on the market. And we went and put money down for our house. We hadn't sold our house in New Jersey yet, so we had to scramble back and get that done, which was fun. And so I closed on the house in New Jersey Friday afternoon and closed on the house here on Monday morning in December of 2020. And we've been in love with, we love this.
I know that neighborhood.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Little spot there.
Thank you for that, Jeff. Do you have any questions I have like a couple things that I've just like housekeeping things that I'd like to make you aware of, like in terms of like, if you were to be a member, there's like training commitments and, so on and so forth that I'd like to talk about a little bit. But before that, do you have any questions for us?
Did you want me to talk about my previous board experience or not? I mean, it's listed here. So.
Yeah, I mean, if it's listed, I mean, I think that's fine.
Okay, I don't want to take up all your time here. So.
No. I mean, unless there's like a highlight that you'd like to give us, that's fine too.
No, I do have experience being on different boards, from everything from a Great Dane Club to a multinational trade organization. So
That's great. That's helpful.
breadth of experience here.
Excellent.
My favorite though was the library board. I was appointed by the mayor.
I bet that's a cool one.
I was the
Like the
secretary.
town library.
Yeah, and we turned it into a community center, so that was very important, making that transition.
Well, thank you. It sounds like you come with a breadth of experience, and that is refreshing and helpful. Would you mind just muting me? Sorry, it's really hard to hear myself talk. Just muting the thing. Oh, thank you. Yay. Okay. So just so you know, so charter school boards, they meet monthly. Our meeting is the second Monday of every month, starting at 5:30. Our meetings typically last around 90 minutes, depending on if we have, big ticket items, they can go a little bit longer. One thing that it's important to know, so Kelly is here and she does like integrative training for us, which is wonderful. However, for a brand new member, you have to do 10 hours of training through the New Mexico Public Education Department. Their Canvas, they have like a Canvas account, which we could like help you set up, and you would have to do training, which is required by law. And there's 10 hours of it. So it's just something to think about in terms of like a time commitment. There is this, you don't have to do it all at once. You have, a year, from when you start, or essentially the end of the fiscal year, which would be June 30th, 2026, to complete that training. But it is just something to know, like that would be a requirement. Another thing that I'd like to just say up front is that we're a strong working board, but we are small and mighty. So attendance is incredibly important. Our bylaws say that you can't miss more than 2 meetings in a school year. And so just thinking about like, is the second Monday of the month going to work for me? Like, is that something I can commit to? I have definitely taken this meeting like from an airport before. It's just something that comes with the territory of, working in or being a volunteer for a charter school. And so I'm happy to stop rambling about requirements. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, or other people on the board can answer them. But I just wanted to give that little sprinkle of information.
What is the?
Hold on a second. Okay. Now you can.
What is the role of the governing council in Taos Academy? We an advisory board to you, or we the final decision maker, or we the final decision maker, or it's just board the final decision maker?
That's an excellent question.
The board hires and fires the executive director.
So this governing council.
This governing council hires this position and fires this position.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have the last decision
Of the head administrator. That's correct. And then you review all policies. We have new policies. Those are approved by the governing council. And then you're a board of finance. So you review all finance expenditures.
Okay.
That's really the finance committee, but the board is the board of finance. The
We're hiring,
responsibility of our finance, executive director, hiring and firing, and policies.
Okay.
That is the goal.
The training is very in-depth on
Mm-hmm.
particular issues
Okay.
in terms of what our role is and what our
learn all the jargon and all the acronyms.
All that.
And one of the easiest ways I think to think about it is that we are like an oversight board. Tracy handles all the day-to-day management. We do not manage the school. That is Tracy's role. But we are oversight, right? We're governance. And so our role is to hire, fire, renew the contract of the head administrator. Like Tracy said, we're also a board of finance. Like the school's contract is signed by the governing council. So the charter is entered into, like, so we're a state authorized school, right? And so we enter into a contract with the Public Education Commission, who is our authorizer, and the governing council. And so with that, comes this oversight piece of, you can see in our agenda, this is something I can talk to you about more in depth later, but like we have in our contract, there's something called a performance framework that identifies the 3 areas of which we are evaluated per our authorizer, which is academics, finance, and organizational. And so the head administrator, who runs the school, reports to the board or has her team report to us about the academics, which we have on our agenda. We get a finance, we review our monthly financials, and then there tends to be like other organizational pieces, whether it be our training hours or policies that we need to approve or whatever it is. And so again, you'll learn a lot about that in the training, but that's kind of like the gist. Kelly, do you have anything to add?
Pretty-
Jeff, my name is Kelly Callahan, and I'm a board trainer with the Public Charter Schools of New Mexico, which is the large organization that supports charter schools in New Mexico. And I am the person that works with the training. And so what we do is we do coaching, and Sam and Tracy explained exactly what the 3 main responsibilities of a governing council or a governing board is. I think just the main responsibility is you're in charge of public trust. So it's a fiduciary that supports public funding for schools. So it's a really important job, and we appreciate the people who come and serve on these boards as volunteers. And it's something, there's lots of stuff to learn. It takes a long time to kind of get in the flow, but you also have a board that's very experienced, that you have a lot of people that have backgrounds in charter schools on your board. And so, and as a coach, I try to stay out of the way, but I'm there for questions and support. So, so if you think about it, there's a time to get indoctrinated a little bit, and then the flow sort of becomes pretty easy to understand because the agendas are very well put together here for this school.
Go ahead.
Repeat again because I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just, Tracy answered my question, but I was just asking if the training was online or in person or a hybrid, as you like to say.
I think it's online, self-paced via Canvas.
You could take it live, or you can take it. Depends on what you would like.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of ours are now done by Kelly. So most of them are done just as we're meeting and as we're going through the year. But then there are other courses that can be taken at other times.
And it's very simple. So it's just 10 hours in Canvas. It's really quite enlightening. And,
That'd be very interesting. Yeah.
knock it out.
To answer your question, Sam, I have no problem with 10 hours of training, and I have no problem with Mondays, as long as I can do it. Sometimes I travel to see grandkids, but if I can do it remotely too, that would be great.
No, I mean, as you can see, there's 3 of us online tonight, and so that is flexible. We just care about your presence, whether it be in the Zoom cube or physical, is however it works. Whatever. Any other questions for us?
I have lots of questions, but I'll ask them during my training.
Well,
Great.
yeah. Okay. Well, training, I don't know. It's kind of just you watch videos. Give us an example of some of the questions you have.
Well, the existential question is, how much are you dependent on federal funding?
You get 0 for your pay. Is that what you're not?
Very good.
That was like, no, you guys, that was a joke.
No.
We'll give you a raise every
School
year.
federal
We'll give
funding.
you a raise every year.
No. That's-
We're fun.
How affected is the school by changes with the federal?
None right now.
So you're totally funded by the state of New Mexico.
And the federal, we have title funds that come.
That's a small percentage of
Very
it.
small.
Okay, so you don't need a plan B.
Not at
Good.
this point. Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much. Feel free to watch the rest of our meeting and hang out, see what we do. And we really appreciate you being here. And you and I can connect. We can connect after with Tracy.
All right, I'm gonna go back over here.
Thank you. Okay, moving to item G, public input for our school year 25-26 budget. Members of the public input for our budget. Seeing none. Going once, twice. Okay, moving to sub-item B. Call for input for our calendar for school year 25-26. Anyone from the public interested in making a comment on our calendar? Okay, seeing none, we shall move on to I, financial reports. Deanna, hello. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Financials and bank statements were provided to all of you on Friday. In addition to regular work this month, we did last month really, we're reporting on. Quarterly reports were submitted by the deadline for 941 SUDA, Workman's Comp, the PED actuals and cash report. Our budget is due to PED on May 29th. The board must approve the budget and submit signatures no later than June 20th. And we'll plan for the board approval at the June meeting. Tracy and I are still working on the budget. I have another budget due ahead of you guys. So I'm almost ready to start working on yours. That's my financial report. Does anybody have questions about that? Okay.
Oh, I have a really simple question, Deanna. Do you send us a DocuSign that we sign? Or how do we do that?
Usually I ask for your permission to use your signatures that I have,
gotcha.
and then I send you guys all a copy of it.
Perfect.
The DocuSigns seem to take forever, and if somebody doesn't do their part, it doesn't move on.
Mm-hmm. Nope,
So
that's
why
perfect.
I haven't been doing DocuSigns.
Thank you.
Okay, bar approvals. I have bar 22. It's an initial bar that I avoided. It's for next fiscal year, not this fiscal year. So I had to avoid that one. Bar 23 is a decreased bar for Fund 24160. That's rural and low-income schools. This was a revision by PED of the final award letter. The amount of our decrease is $1,924. And at this time, I'm also asking approval to submit any bars that's needed throughout year end and to present them at a later meeting for ratification, because we're going to run into deadlines for getting stuff in.
So is it fair to say that we should probably approve the 2 bars and then do a separate approval for the, so that you can do what you need to do?
That's perfect.
Yes, that's exactly. I was just going to pop in and say that. So you got it, Sam.
Yes. Okay, cool. So I'd like to entertain a motion for bar. Do I say the last 4 digits? Is that how you identify them?
Yes, because the other is our school number, if anybody's wondering. We have our school number first, and then it's all zeros because we're just one school. And then it's our fiscal year, and then that's the number of the bar, okay? And then I
Okay.
is the initial bar, D is a decrease, I is an increase, M is a maintenance bar, and T is a transfer bar.
Okay, I just learned something, Deanna, so thank you.
There.
Thank you.
Deanna, do you want to add in the language where it chops up for the actions?
I will be happy to.
Okay, thank you. Just let her know how you want to word it.
Yeah, I'll be happy to.
Thank you.
So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve bars 0022 and 0023. Oh, Dean, I see you talking, but you are muted.
Oh, thanks for letting me know. I move we approve R 022 and 023.
Second.
I think I heard Laura first, so we need a second.
Martha has left us.
It's a very difficult job over there.
And do we need a roll call for that?
I am muted. All right, Dean,
Yes.
Laura, Martin,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, and then I'd like to entertain a second motion to allow our business manager to submit any bars that are needed for year end. That will then be brought back for ratification at the June or July meeting.
I don't want to be the first on all of these, but I'll move for Deanna doing what she needs to do with this.
Second.
All right. Roll call. Dean,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I just lost our agenda. And now it's coming back. Hold on, please. Oh, do we have a Dan, is there any finance or audit committee update?
Usually whichever board member is in the finance or audit committee will give a report. So it's just a simple thing. We reported on a couple of expenses that we had questions about, and we talked in general about finances and talked a little bit about how much we'll have to carry over, at the end of the fiscal year and things.
Yeah, and we're working to complete the campus, and we're hoping to get a lot of that done before year end.
Okay. And that's just discussion, right? Or update? We don't need to vote on any of that.
You're going to vote on approval of the unaudited financial reports as I submitted them to you. To accept them is what you're voting for.
Okay. And so I will entertain that motion to accept the financial reports as presented. Someone want to motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, we have Martin
and Dean. All right, roll call. Dean,
Yes.
Laura,
oh, she's muted.
Sorry. Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much for the financial update. We are now moving on to item J, which is operations and instructions reports, discussion and possible action. The first is our foundation report. Ms. Karen Moulton.
Yeah, hold on. Oh. Hello, everyone. We had our regularly scheduled quarterly meeting in April 16th. I did share the financial reports with this governing council last week. During that meeting, the foundation board accepted the resignation of Patricia Maher, and we voted to accept Kelsey Pike on the board. Switch on board. They also voted to approve a music scholarship for a Taos Academy student for some music equipment. As of the end of March, the bank balance was $44,770. We have $17,000 in allocated funds, and so we have a current balance of $27,744. And that was at end of March. The board also discussed the need to renegotiate the MOU with Taos Academy for the organizational and administrative and financial fees because of increased expenditures. So in other words, the audit is costing more, accounting is costing more. So we'll do that in June or July in time for the fiscal year. And the next foundation meeting is July, which is the end of our fiscal year. So we'll be sending reports and reporting again at your August meeting. And the only other thing I have is that I picked up our 23-24 taxes today. I don't know if you guys remember, but we had filed an extension. They're due by May 15th. And so I picked them up, signed them. They'll be sent out digitally tomorrow. So we're in there and on time. And then I'll be reporting to the state charitable organizations board. Usually we upload a copy of those taxes to that entity, and that needs to be done by June 1st. So I'll probably do it in tomorrow or the next day. So we'll be wrapped up for 23-24. Anybody have any questions for me?
That felt clear and comprehensive to me. Oh, Dean, you are muted.
I have a question, Karen. What are you guys having to eat there tonight that I'm missing out on?
Well, maybe I did a special pie for you and Mary. I did my famous Southern tomato pie.
Oh no.
Folks have ham and cheese quiche.
That sounds delicious. Well, thank you, Karen. The quiche and the pie sounds, I've never had a tomato pie. One of these days. Sounds delicious. Okay, so moving to any other questions for Karen? Okay. Item or sub-item B, which is the Director of Programs report.
Good evening. So I've got a few sections of things to go over very quickly, though. We had our final Taos Academy Community Council meeting for our school year that took place April 30th. One of the big things that we discussed was the anti-distraction legislation and the survey, which we did put out again to our parents and staff. So we're working on getting as many possible responses to discuss our policy. As per the legislation, we discussed the calendar, budget with our families that were present and staff. No additional changes or comments. We talked about what we would be planning to do this next year. No questions came up on the calendar. So with that, just putting it out on your radar, graduations this week. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But moving on from that section, district testing, we have completed 100% of our state summative assessments. That means we tested every single student that was in a testable grade, and all those math, science, reading, writing tests have been completed for grades 5 through 8 and then 11th grade. So that's done. We are in the middle of our MAPS. That's our short cycle measures of academic progress. We're about 98% completed. We have about 8 students left to test. Even if they tested today, we can't see the results until tomorrow. But I'm going to share my screen with you. But as far as the state testing, all that data is embargoed, but once we get it and everything, we will be using that internally to make instructional decisions, as well as the MAP data. Once it's complete, we're using that to directly inform our instruction and support our 3rd trimester, which begins the day after Memorial Day and runs to the end of June. And we're also using that information to finalize inform the performance pay. So just so you guys know that that's kind of where we're going with this. And I am going to present some data to you. You guys, just give me a thumbs up when you can see it on your screen. All right. Okay. So what you're seeing here is our overall, we're going to look at math first. All right. So the top bar this is inclusive of all students that have currently completed testing that they also tested in the fall. So they had to, in order to show up on here, they had to have tested back in September with us and again now in April and May. So if you notice that our overall growth, the entire school was at the 55th percentile. You can see the spread right there. And we went up in math overall from the achievement-wise from the 51st percentile to the 55th. So there's definitely some growth there. And we'll look down at each grade level now. This graph is great. And if you notice this, so this is the average for the whole specific grade. And the only 2 groups that are down here are 5th and 7th grade. Everybody else has either had high growth if they were low achieving, or they're in the proficient quadrants, okay, which are the ones to the right. And then, of course, broken down by grade, there's 5th grade group is very small. It's definitely statistically unreliable, but we know that we have a lot of work to do. And the students that stay with Taos Academy take they're caught up after their 2nd year. So there's a lot of growth that needs to happen in the 5th grade. But definitely, if you look at our 6th grade, like we said, when they get to that 2nd year and further, the 6th grade in math was in the 93rd percentile in growth. They went in achievement from the 32nd to the 59th. So we've had a lot of celebrations around that 6th grade group. The 7th grade group was that other area that was needing some support. And they went from the 48th and they went down to the 33rd in terms of achievement. But the rest are all very positive. So 8th grade, 74th percentile on average in growth. And they went from the 38th to the 42nd. 9th grade, 59th percentile grew, same from the 50th to the 52nd. Do you want to point something out on that one? 10th grade, this one's a really good one. Overall growth at the 58th percentile stayed at the 54th. But if you notice, there's a huge difference. They went from the 17% of those students in the lowest 20th percentile to only 7. So 10% of those students moved into higher achievement levels. So that's big. The 11th grade, 60th percentile in growth, but went from the 54th to the 62nd in achievement. Same, notice that lowest 20% in the red dropped from 26% of the students to only 13% of the students in that grade level. And what's awesome is like looking at these 12th graders, their growth was in the 43rd. They are the ones getting ready to leave us, but they are still above the 60th percentile in achievement. And that's math. I'm going to come up and I'm going to show you guys the reading. Quick. One more little update here. So overall in reading went from the 60th percentile in achievement to the 66th as a whole school. Growth in the 61st percentile. Big gains here, but this graph very different. Only the 5th grade. Everybody else on average is in that proficient range, high growth, high achievement. Huge gains for our students in reading. Like you said, very small group, 5th graders, lots of work to be done. They take a lot of time adjusting to our school. And they're a small group. So 6th grade, same, high growth, went from the 52nd to the 54th. Looking back to that lowest 20th percentile, making some movement of students out of those lowest groups. 7th grade made the biggest growth, where they completely eliminated that lowest 20th percentile, and the students high growth, 68th percentile there. 8th grade, same positive movement, 49th to the 52nd percentile, 60th percentile in growth. 9th grade, lots of gains, 60th to 64th percentile here. 10th grade, high school is awesome when it came to this, 66th percentile in growth and reading. Stayed about the same, but of course there was still definite movement in out of those lower bands. 11th grade, 75th percentile. This is that testing group that takes the SAT. So 66th percentile to 71st percentile in actual achievement. And nice to see our seniors that are 70th percentile in achievement, that so few of our students in those lower tiers. And those are our graduating students. Just shout out to all our teachers that have been working really hard, huge changes, and definitely more growth to come. Ooh. All right.
Some great scores.
So lots of change there. I'm going to stop sharing that and jump back down. So any questions about our data so far? I saw some little celebrations going up. Woo-hoo. All right. Okay. Yeah, it's going great. All right. So then STEM Institute, we just ended our term for the spring term for the year. We offered for this spring a total of 19 courses, and 151 students were enrolled in those courses. This spring, we had our celebration of learning on May 1st. It was very entertaining. Earlier on in the day, our seniors did their capstones. We had our theater final performances, music performances. We had a very special presentation, special awards presentation for our esports and science fair state champions just before our music performance that evening. And New Mexico Public Education Commissioner Steve Carrillo was here at the event with us for that celebration, and very well attended. Ended on a high note for the STEM program, and just moving forward. Any questions about anything else? I'll pass it on. Sam, you look frozen. Blink.
No.
No, she's definitely frozen.
She's frozen. She's thinking.
Overall spirit, teachers, everybody feeling good?
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good this year.
Are you talking about me?
Yes, you were frozen for a bit. We're asking if there's any questions about any of the stuff.
Oh. I don't have any questions. Does anyone on the board have any questions? I'm just really impressed by the data, especially for seniors. Any other questions?
Morale's high in terms of teachers and positions and all of that.
Everybody's coming back.
Everybody's coming back.
Really strong team now. Yeah. And we're very happy about the growth as well. So just, there's that upward momentum that's just everybody. Yeah. Back up to pre-COVID standards, which is what we were aiming for in the last couple of years. So
No, it's impressive. Thank you, Jamie. I think you did your all your points, right? Can you hear me? We heard the Student Advisory and Equity, DTC, and STEM Institute.
Yes, we did all of those.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you so much. So moving on to sub item C, Principal Director of Teaching and Learning Report.
So, I mean, that's a really good way to enter where we're still heading. We still have work to do, so hopefully the morale will even be higher. Teachers are getting real excited about things that will happen occur for next year, which I think is really great. Makes me excited, makes them excited. So as far as academic goal progression, what we're really working on is the talk of the town has been the MAP scores among teachers and students. So you'll hear students say, hey, what you get? You know, so that's the culture we definitely want to make it a positive thing, to really build those MAP scores. And so as those are coming in, the teachers are starting to update their MAP score charts up there, and you can see, you know, as you walk out, like if you look at the one back there, that's definitely one you can see the growth going, and so that's really exciting. I'm also getting ready to close up the New Mexico Elevate, and make sure it's finalized. Teachers to do the last reflections, gather data that I didn't have before because it wasn't here before, and trying to figure out, okay, where are our strengths, where are our weaknesses individually, but also as a group, and collecting that data to see where do we move forward with PD and what that might be next year.
Right, that's our teacher evaluation system.
Yeah, teacher evaluation.
The P, not ours, the state's teacher evaluation system is called. And that's when she said PD, that's professional development based on what she is finding out with the data. Now, I'm sorry about the permitted. Then that means that then
Everybody can check that.
professional development. Oh, yeah.
We can check it. We have to.
Well, being in education for a long time, one of the biggest things strengths is having teachers reflect on their teaching, not necessarily saying, hey, you're doing bad, you're doing great, but just saying, how do you think it went? Do you think there's some things that can change? So always giving them the power to reflect back. Very good. As far as staff, they'll be getting ready to do their closeout procedures, you know, for the end of school year and them jumping into their summer break. So everything's got to be closed out by May 23rd. So that will be their final process. Things to look forward to. We're going to be making a couple changes for orientation for next year. We've already met with new parents just to solidify that they understand what will be expected before they even come to a general orientation, to make sure they understand that this is a good fit and that the bar is pretty high here, and make sure this is what they need for their child. So we've been, Tracy and I have been given those, and Sarah pops in, those orientations or just updates. So I think that's been really good. EdX will be implementing EdX here soon for next year. We've been talking about that. Plagiarism also is coming first. We've done that. And just talking about tightening the procedures for placeholders and due dates. More assignment due dates instead of treating them until the very, very end of the year. You definitely take advantage of that. But making, you know, a few more stops along the way so that we can ensure that they're not waiting till that period, but actually making sure we catch
Their
them
pace
in
correct.
their pace correct.
Skipping assignments and reading all the essays.
And then coming back, yeah. Yeah. So those are some things we're looking forward to. Foreign language.
Jean has a question.
Sure, yes, Dean.
Yes, I was wondering, what kind of turnover are we having this year? Is the teachers coming back or?
All coming back.
All of them? Boy, that's amazing. That's good. A lot different than last year.
Yeah. So, like I say, they're all excited for next year and moving forward and planning and working together. You know, they're really seeing how all of the things that we put in place, you know, how they fit with the mission and the vision of the school.
Great.
Other instructional, so our world languages, foreign languages, will be a mixture of Ingenuity and Rosetta Stone. The kids that have already started Rosetta Stone, that's our world languages, they will be finishing if they've already started. The others, pretty much the new cohort that's coming in, the new freshmen that are coming in, they'll be taking it off of Ingenuity. So what the difference is, what we have now, is we call this Ingenuity Instructional Services. Okay, so it means they will have a licensed teacher in New Mexico provided by Ingenuity, but those teachers will also grade everything. They'll also work with the students, plan out the lesson planning. So our teachers don't have to do that. So the difference is that before, in prior years, now for the ninth grade coming in, the requirements for graduation no longer require 2 years of foreign language. And so now it's an elective. There'll be a difference in the number of kids that
Is there
take that.
any requirement for foreign language?
Just as an elective, that was what
Is this like coming from?
No,
Why-
New
That's a good
Mexico
question.
graduation requirement.
New Mexico.
Do not require.
It's they can classify it as an elective in communication.
Correct. So now if they want to still get their bilingual seal, then of course they'll have to do the 2 years.
Now, just to be clear, that when students are counseled as they're going, because many of our students go to college and they're in schools, we will counsel them to take 2 years of language because most schools require that. Most colleges require that. But the state is now changing some of their curriculum. Electives being one of them. I mean, languages being. Oh, there you go.
I would think you require everybody to take Spanish at least.
Yeah. That's the case. So the cohorts that are here now, past the ninth grade, will they definitely have to finish their 2 years?
Don't have any foreign language.
They don't have to. Yep. A change is going to be made in our enrichment schedule for math. So we're really going to focus on math. So we're working on scheduling to really get more enrichment time to help focus on math. So that will be in the schedule. Students are will have the option this year to do 4 end-of-year activities. So they can go to golondrinas, they can do biking, they can do sand dunes and it's a nice array of activities participate in. Students are finishing up any edge work and they're also taking finals and they're also finishing in, you know, as it progresses throughout the week, numbers start getting smaller and smaller because they're finishing, so that's a good thing. Celebrations. So that was a huge celebration right there, which is awesome. And this year, you know, students have kind of got the gist of I'm not one to give a whole lot of extensions. We don't have as many extensions, which means kids are really trying to finish up all their work before the school year ends. So that's, We talked about graduation activities, 8th grade promotions, so those are the exciting things to celebrate. We had the on-site visit, the audit, and for at least the part that they did in person, we got a green, move forward, thumbs up, so that was really exciting. And we've actually interviewed a few positions like like to really help with star math scores, possible math teacher, and an EA to kind of fill that position we didn't have so before. So that's exciting too, because that will definitely help with working that enrichment, math enrichment class to have more math enrichment and at higher levels too. So we're going with that. And we are good on the celebrations. So hope they keep going. I stand for any questions.
Thank you, May. Any council members with questions? No, thank you for your report. Moving on to sub-item D, Executive Director's Report.
Alrighty, facility, we are in the final stages of completing our campus. Projects are all scheduled for May and June. Those include paving the student parking lot and the new wellness building parking lot. Finishing the amphitheater, so it's getting a cover. Very nice cover, really. Be good. The amphitheater will also get water and electricity. Obviously, finishing the wellness building, if the town will let us do that here shortly. And teacher offices in the main building are being enclosed with plexiglass on the top, similar to this room in here, so that they have more privacy. And notice that, oh, and landscaping. Add landscaping. Lots of, that landscaping actually started today in the back. That'll be completed. And then the campus will be completed. Dean, I will add no more buildings, thank you. And I'm not adding a swimming pool, whoever came up with a swimming pool.
That was me and Jamie.
Someone maybe I won't mention in this room.
So did I miss something? Wellness center. Is this the appropriate line item to have this discussion?
No,
It's not? Okay.
it is the appropriate time. Right now, they're asking for signatures very slowly across our town. Fire marshal, who already signed off twice on our fire road, they now want another signature from him.
The town does.
Mm-hmm. The last piece was questioning whether I can sign for Taos Academy. Sam sent a letter. Yes, I can sign for Taos Academy. That was cleared up last week.
So this was, they wanted their money. We agreed that we would pay the money. Doug went back and was kind of like.
Doug's working on what Doug's working on.
So they haven't come back with anything extraordinary or.
No.
Okay, so it looks like.
Darren Cordova literally takes a paper a day over there and goes, okay, are we ready now? No, I want this. Okay, are we ready now? No, I want this. Okay, are we ready now? No. So that's where we are today. Haven't gotten a report today. So maybe he can go to CID tomorrow.
And it's just electric, water, all that is, the final hookups are not done to the building yet until we get through this.
Final hookups are not done and then the skirting around there.
Until we get the town final.
We can't touch that building. We can do all these other projects, which is why they're procured now.
Okay.
Yeah. We're waiting patiently. Really patient.
But it seems like the strategy that we said we were going to undertake in the last board meeting we had, we're doing, and it's slowly working.
There. Yes.
Tracy, I know sometime I'm going to come driving by the campus and I'll see a skyscraper there.
No, my watch. With the pool. These girls are gonna have a pool. I mean, Warren got the pool.
Only in a hot tub.
Okay. pickleball. Who goes for that?
Hey,
No, there was staff dormitories.
staff dormitories. Well, the pickleball team wants more pickleball. They want summer pickleball courts in the back, so that's up to them. Anyways. Yeah. So that's facility. Any other questions on facility? I'm excited for it. I mean, you heard the finance piece, the state kind of threatened us to at the end of the legislative session and said, hey, all you people, meaning almost every district in the entire state has lots of money, some huge amounts, millions and millions and millions. And they threatened to not to claw back like they did a few years ago, but rather to hold money from us until we spend some of that down. So they're looking at next year that schools need to have that excess spent down. So lots of schools are spending their money. So we moved forward with facility on ours, of course. So by the end of the summer, we should have a finished campus after 16 years. Yeah, no, that's another degree that I need. Construction facilities manager. It's been a process for sure. Okay, budget. So I had that on there because mainly because it was on there from last year, but also because we never know exactly when we're going to get all the paperwork, the 910B5, and when Deanna gets all of the papers to do our budget. We just got it last week. That does not give her any time to do anything really with it other than go, it's interesting because it's all new. The whole format is new. But I did a review this weekend of last year's 910B5 and this year's, and some of our title funds and other grant funds. And it's looking like we'll be pretty similar to this year as far as budget is concerned, as long as our calendar is accepted by PED. So if you recall, we get about right around $500,000 for the K-12 Plus program, which is about 20 days of our calendar. And they happen, for us, it's our summer school. We call it our third trimester. So if PED continues to allow us, which I can't imagine that they wouldn't, they say they're going to, as long as they put that back into our budget when we turn in our calendar, we should be in pretty good shape. That is for this year. So our student count is down, which we spoke about in the finance part of our discussion today. And so depending on what happens over the summer and where those numbers go to this next year will determine the following year's budget. So, but what I will say, and what the leadership team has talked a lot about, is that as you saw our scores going way up, and they will continue to go up. That is not that this staff is going to pull them back up. May is threatening to be first in the state, so I think we'll see where we go with that. But anyway, we definitely, our scores are going to go way up, and so to me, that is will be a signal for people to relook at our school and go, hey, look, we already do better than our local schools, but not huge amounts. And I'm thinking this is going to be we'll be back on the top again, like we used to be in the top 10. So very fast by this coming year. So, hopefully that helps with enrollment and
I was gonna ask about enrollment and waiting lists and stuff. Subscribed or,
nope, we have a waiting list in 2 grade levels right now. And we don't have the huge amounts of intent letters that we used to.
what are the
We're
2
about-
grades that you have?
9th grade and 7th grade.
So 9th kind of makes sense for high school.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of this too, because they just spent a year at Taos Middle School.
Oh, right.
Their
Do they start
options.
at 6? That's middle?
Taos Middle School
Okay, so
starts
they're
at
like,
6th.
okay.
That's my guess.
And actually, we just got 4 new 6th graders today. So, I think it's where it used to be this huge push right around lottery time. And I'm hearing from the other charter leaders, it's the same. There wasn't this, like huge amounts of students wanting to come in. That's true for even the district charters. So, I don't change. I don't know. I don't know what that is exactly, but I feel like that if we can show that this school academically is moving up and can be one of the top in the state.
Right. What's happening with like numbers of students overall in Taos population wise? Is that dropping?
Yes, and it has been actually for a long time. There was a study done, I want to say at least 10 years ago, might have been 15 years ago, about family age kids this actually was done by the Taos Municipal Schools. And there was a projection of a huge loss of school-age children, I believe was the study. This community is definitely losing. Yeah. And that was done before COVID.
So we had the COVID bump.
Yeah.
And then that's all washed out then. So.
Mm-hmm. And the population in Taos is moving to a retired age. Student population we used to.
The stat for, it was like 2 or 3 years ago, 50% of the homes are owned by outsiders and they generate 80% of the property taxes.
50%?
50% of the homes in county, homes owned in the county, state, and they generate 80% of the value.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that stat is now. It was a few
Yeah.
years ago.
So, and I will say that UNM is offering quite a bit more career study, and we are tight with their programming. And so our College Link students, which is our and dual credit both, but that program for us is growing. Most of our juniors and seniors will be able to participate. And we haven't had that since before COVID. That went downhill during COVID and just kind of, trying to get back.
But now it's just back.
Well, you saw the scores for that.
Yeah.
So that
Well,
will be helpful.
like you were saying, I'm asking about the scores, right? So you get like some friends that are doing that. You're like, maybe I should be doing that. It kind of reverse you get this positive momentum.
And,
Right.
having come from that end and seeing what kids want that. They want to be successful and they want to have, that rigor, that thing that moves them forward to get where they want to be. And they really do appreciate that. And kids are kids, but they still really want to have that. That's where I think we want to go is, the teachers. Oh, the teachers love to teach. They love to help us. They love that. They grasp on to all that because they're looking for that somebody to guide them, to make them successful, to help them get there. And not to be ignored and to have all those, advantages that you don't get out of it
I
at school.
think a lot of them are kind of fearful about the future now, and they're kind of like, step up.
Right.
Where are your graduating seniors going? Are they going to college, or are they going to vocational, or what are they doing?
They go all over. So you have some that go to college, of course, you'll have some that will stay in town and go to UNM, finish their basics off here, then maybe go to college or go to Maine. Some will stay and work in the community.
Family business.
Family
Quite a few
business,
good family.
Most of our students are college bound.
Oh, good. I'd say the majority.
Yeah, they are.
And it's growth. That's the difference in the last 40 years that we're seeing. Coming out of COVID, we did not have that. Lots of reasons actually, but that's been that.
That's great.
Education, that continued education. Would you do me a favor? I sent you the calendar because I'm not logged in. If you wouldn't mind passing that calendar, I would appreciate it.
Are you talking about the GC calendar, Tracy?
No, I'm going back to budget because calendar is part of budget for Deanna. So I just want to talk about the new calendar for a minute. We only have one this year.
Confusing.
So
We only have two.
I talked about budget, and part of our budget is connected to the calendar, that third trimester. And now I just wanted to put up the calendar. Now this is the school's calendar, not the one that Deanna will draft. It comes from this one. But the one for budget looks very different. But it obviously aligns with one that we have that we did internally. Did you get that?
I'm trying to get that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were in there. What's that?
I can try to share if you'd like.
Okay, thanks, Deanna. She's got it too. Yeah. So just the staff has reviewed it.
Okay.
And we made the changes that they had requested, and it is very similar to this year. To be honest, I mean, there are very few changes.
Instead of the entire flex week in
Right.
October, it's half. It's 2 days.
2 days and 2 days in March. So it kind of gives everybody a little bit of break in both of those months. Those are our virtual days. August, similar, except that the state is now required, we can't start the middle school a week later than the high school. They had a problem with that last year. So we changed that this year, and we are now starting middle school on the, thank you, on the 11th, and then high school on the 12th. So they get 1 day to come in for orientation each. They get their courses loaded, started, so they both start at the same time. That's because they have to have the same amount of time, which is different than in years past. And then they go on their trips. The high school, the high school will go the 13th and 14th on their trips, and then the middle school will go on their trips on the 20th and the 21st. And then we have regular programming starting on the 25th. So that's a hair different than what we've been doing. I'm sure our middle schoolers will be sad if they have to start school at school now.
Their parents will.
Their parents will be happy. September's pretty much the same. October, we talked about the 2 days of virtual days on the 15th and 16th. That is also our STEM night and student-led conferences. are in that week. It helps to make, things a little more doable because kids aren't all here. November, Thanksgiving, same. December, changes there. January, you come back for 1 day of in-service, 2 days, high school, middle school days, and then our trips are, not trips, but the winter activities on the 8th and the 9th. And then February, is anything there? March are the other 2 days of the virtual learning on the 11th and 12th, similar to October. That's a nice one because it backs up to our spring break. So kids will have a nice long break. That'll be good. April, pretty similar. I think May was similar to this year. Yeah. We had some weirdness there, but I think we fixed it. And then the 20 days for our third trimester. Mm-hmm. Any questions? That, by the way, gives a contract days for teachers 166. It's always been 166. However many days we have there for instructional days. And
So this one ticks all the boxes.
That's all the boxes. Yeah, the boxes aren't as long of a list this year as they were last year.
Last year was crazy, yeah.
Last year was crazy. This is much more doable. And yes, we don't meet the 160. So they took out the 180-day thing. And, we didn't do that anyway because we had 4-day week. But they went back to the 1,140 hours, which is good for us.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, we can't have any Friday school. That was another thing they didn't want put on the calendar from last year. No, if 4-day-a-week schools can only show 4 days a week. They cannot show 5.
But Friday's still available.
Yeah. It's not considered an instructional day. It is a tutoring day. We get no funding for Friday, to be very clear.
Yeah.
So, if they have a deficit some year, it could be that Friday schools. Those are because we fund that.
Wait, if we have a deficit one year, it means Friday school has to come back.
No, if we have a deficit in funding and we can't pay out of operational the amount of money that we pay for teachers to teach on Fridays, that comes straight out of operational. We don't have any extra funding for that. The PED does not pay us extra.
So campus will be closed. There will be no tutoring.
There'd be no tutoring.
Well, if there's no funding, there is,
There's no funding.
if there's
Schools
no
closed.
funding, then
Full
the
stop.
tutoring goes away.
Yeah. Sorry.
For now, there will be.
Well, thank you, Tracy. Are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none. We'll move to sub-item E, monthly GC calendar discussion. Karen isn't here. I will just echo what I've heard several times throughout this meeting, which is graduation is the 16th from 2 to 4. And the governing council should be there with bells and whistles. I know I will be. And then I don't know if there's any other calendar things that we need to know about. I would imagine that next month's meeting is going to be a big one of approval, so it's important for us to all make sure that we're here. I don't know if I'm missing anything. Yes, Dean.
I didn't hear that.
Who's coming Friday? We need to know who's coming Friday. Martin's coming, Sam, you're coming?
I plan on coming, but I might be getting a cold, so hopefully I'll make it.
Okay, so we will need to put a.
I have a question. I was wondering, oh gosh, now I'm spacing it out. You know, I guess that's why I'm the older one in the group, you know. Oh no, I know what it was. We sent out the 72-hour notice for the meeting for council members being graduation.
Yes, we will. That's why we needed a count.
Okay.
Do I know?
Okay, any other discussion on the calendar?
She likes to come.
I know, better be safe.
Okay, seeing no other discussion. Oh my God, it's echoing so bad, it's terrible. Is sub item F, which is policy change. It's more of it's a change in the bylaws per the request of our authorizer. And so the PEC has asked that governing councils include a provision in their bylaws for what happens if we fall below the membership that would create a quorum. So if we have below 3 members, what would we do? And then it's if, you know, every governing council member decided to quit on the same day, we had no members, what would we do? And so for the first, if we should fall below 3 members, the governing council would appoint remaining board members until we have at least 3. And then once we're at 3, all further members would be voted during a public meeting of our governing council. And these provisions have been vetted by the charter lawyers. It's just kind of like, this is what everyone's adopting. And then the second one is if we all decided to quit and left Tracy in the total lurch, then she would be the one to appoint new board members. And the new members would be assigned to the prior governing council member terms and serve accordingly. And so that's something that we'll adopt into our bylaws, but we do need to vote on it. And it's something that needs to be submitted for approval by June 30. Do you have any questions on that? I saw Dean say no. Anyone else? No? Okay,
No.
cool.
Sam,
Yes.
I just wanted to let you know and Tracy know that I'm finished with your assessment for your policies. I'm putting together the report and getting everything. So probably in the next week or so, I should have the report to you guys. So it'll be ready for you guys to review coming into the new school year.
That is excellent, Kelly. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay, so if we don't have any questions on this provision that we need to adopt into our bylaws that was vetted by the charter lawyers of our, you know, world, then I would like to entertain a motion to approve this provision into our bylaws.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have Martin and Laura.
All right, roll call. Dean,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
motion carries.
Yay. Okay, our next board meeting agenda. Tracy and I will meet to go over that the week before. Is there anything else we need to know or talk about for that? Anyone? No? Okay, so moving on.
Hang on, whoa.
Yeah, we were muted for a moment there, but, we'll need to do budget and calendar. Oh, we don't have the GC calendar, do we?
No,
No.
Also,
It's-
salary schedule.
Salary schedules, did you say, Deanna?
Yes, it's just the budget approval.
Okay, I'll just put budget and calendar.
Thank you.
Do you guys not have access to Karen's, calendar? Like,
It should be. It's in the drive, I'm pretty sure.
it probably is. I haven't checked.
I haven't looked at it for like 2 or 3 months, but it used to be there.
yeah. Because usually she updates us and then we know what goes on the agenda for the
Yeah,
next
it's in
month.
there. It's in the 24-25 folder, and it says it says 24-25 GC meeting schedule. Is that it?
I don't know, because usually she's here to tell us what goes in there.
Oh, no, that's not it, sorry. That's just the days of our meetings. Open council.
So that might be
calendar,
something,
yeah.
Sam, that everybody really knows how to get in there, because she does have what happens each month.
Yeah.
It's good to review that, and usually she's
Okay.
here. So it might be something that, guys take a look at.
Yeah, it's, you guys, it's in the Google Drive. It's under school year 24-25. It's called GC Calendar FY 2025. And it has all the events and things that you would sign up for.
Okay. Right. Anything else about that? Okay. If there's nothing else, then I call this meeting adjourned at 7:05 p.m. I hope everyone has a lovely evening.
I think we have to move to adjourn.
We don't vote to adjourn. You just adjourn.
Okay, perfect.
Well, we can. I mean, if you want to, but you don't vote to adjourn.
We don't need to, we don't need to.
Okay. All right. I will see you all next month.
Thanks, Sam. See you Friday.
We'll see you Friday.
Thanks, y'all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. Take care.
Okay.
You're the house down on the end of your road, all the way down at the